Once again, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We're excited to kick off a highly anticipated webinar, Inside OrangeHRM Product Demo Series Episode 1. We are really glad to see such a great turnout as we dive into the latest features released in 2023 and offer an exclusive sneak peek into what is in store for 2024. Joining with us today to go through this journey is our Associate Sales Director, Matt Vendramini. Before I pass this on to him, please note that if you have any questions during the presentation, you can feel free to drop it into our question into the chat bar. And this will be picked up by one of our moderators who will then answer your queries. And at the end of the presentation, we will also be having a Q&A session where you can key in your questions and Matt himself will be able to answer. Please note that due to time constraints, he might not be able to answer all the questions. However, we will make sure to address any unanswered question directly to you. Thank you. Over to you, Matt.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Hi, everybody. This is Matt Vendramini, Sales Director here at OrangeHRM. And I wanted to start off today by, first off, thanking you all very much for being OrangeHRM customers. We very much value your business. And thank you for putting your trust in us as your HR software provider. And we hope that you'll still be with us for many years to come in the future. And hopefully you'll see some things today that keep you excited about some upcoming features for the future. And I hope you learn a little bit about features maybe that you didn't know are available that you could probably put to use as early as today. So there's a lot of things we can cover. And the other thing I wanted to thank you for was your attendance today. So thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to join us and go through this meeting, this presentation with us. We hope you find it useful, and we look forward to conversing with you during the Q&A and beyond. All right, so just to kick things off, we're also joined by Sam. Sam's going to be our other co-host who's going to help answer some questions and do some moderation throughout today's presentation. So just a quick agenda, the things we're going to cover here today. We'll start off with a look back at 2023. It was a big year for us. We did a lot with the product. There was a lot of usability improvements, some really key features that have driven value for our clients in the last year or so, and many of which that are going to continue to be built on moving forward. Then before we, once we're finished with 2023, we're going to take a very quick look at 2024. So sneak peek into some of the things that will be coming up within the product and, talk about those things. And then we'll wrap things up today with a Q&A session where we'll answer some of your questions about any of the existing features, any of the upcoming features and roadmap and so forth. So that's what we're planning to cover. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump into things and take it off. Okay, so we'll start with 2023. We're going to look back at some features that we put into place here. So it was a big year for us. As I mentioned, I think one of my personal favorite features that came into our product in 2023 was the improved employee profile dashboard. So many of you know, a couple of years prior, we completely revamped the OrangeHRM main dashboard. So when you log in, you see a dashboard with widgets. You can move widgets around. A much nicer graphical display than was previously available in the product, and was a huge hit. It was a big improvement for all involved. Our customers loved it. Internally, we made some tweaks to it over time, and it's continuing to get better. And it's a great feature today. So what we did is we actually ported some of those same capabilities into the employee profile itself. So we kind of gave a graphic overview of employee information within a single screen. So within the employee management or the employee profile database, the first page of the database was this about page with a similar function where we've got widgets with different pieces of information. The idea here was to get all the information we could get about an individual employee in one screen so that in a single view, you could see basically everything you need to see about any given employee from this view. It also gave us, an ability to create a better navigation within OrangeHRM. So from within any of these widgets, you'd be able to kind of go into any of these given areas, whether it be performance goals, OKRs, leave requests, time records, and so forth. You quickly navigate there and navigate back and kind of get the information you need at any given time really, really quickly. So, it was really a big improvement to the product, and really helped, get our clients all the information they need in one screen and really navigate to different areas of the platform very, very quickly, with significantly fewer clicks. So we're going to watch a quick video here just to kind of cover some of these features in a little bit more detail to show you what we mean here.
Let's begin by searching for an employee and accessing her profile. Now, Leah Andrews' employee profile is displayed. This dashboard view presents information about Leah gathered from various modules. I will scroll down to access additional information. I can rearrange the information widgets for convenient access, placing frequently used information at the top. Now, let's process some information. Clicking on sick leave in the leave balance widget reveals that Leah has taken 3 sick leave days with a remaining balance of 2 days. Clicking on the leave redirects me to the leave module, where I can view the request details. Returning to the employee profile only requires a single click. Following that, I will access Leah's attendance sheet within the attendance module. After reviewing its details, I will return to the employee profile. Likewise, I have the ability to observe Leah's goals categorized as pending, in progress, and achieved. If I wish to examine the details of a specific goal, I can click on it, view its details in the performance module, and then return to the employee profile when finished. Moreover, I can access a summary of performance tracker logs that have been added for Leah. For a more in-depth understanding, I can examine the detailed comments within Leah's performance tracker, located in the performance tracker module, before returning to the employee profile. If I wish to assess whether Leah is meeting the expectations set during the hiring stage, I can review her hiring process by accessing Leah's candidate profile. Within this profile, I can examine details such as interviews conducted, tests completed, her resume, and any notes recorded during the hiring process. Once I have gathered the necessary information, I can easily return to the employee profile with just one click.
All right, so that hopefully gives you a bit of an overview of that feature. And some of its usability. So again, so that's on the first page of the employee management section of OrangeHRM. So the employee profile within the database. For those of you who've been with us for a long time, that was once upon a time called the PIM module. It's now the employee management module. So that's where you'd find those features.
Let's begin by searching for an employee and
There we go. Okay. Okay, so moving on. Next area we wanted to talk about today is recruitment. So we had some really great improvements in our recruitment module within our recruitment capabilities. We really wanted to focus on creating more of an end-to-end hiring workflow. And while we had some fantastic features already built into sort of like an interview workflow, different steps that needed to be followed, this has been a feature of OrangeHRM for quite some time. What we really kind of capped the process off really neatly was with the ability to create offer letters for candidates, send those offer letters out to the candidates to be returned by e-signature, to be e-signed and then returned, and then really integrate it effectively with our onboarding process. So we've really made some great improvements in this area, as well as adding tokens, to customize offer letters and really kick off and sort of integrate the process to make it a little bit more smooth of selecting candidates, shortlisting candidates, interviewing, hiring them, and then bringing them on board. So the workflow that we've kind of created around all these different things is a lot smoother now and is a lot better integrated as a full kind of recruitment and onboarding end-to-end solution. So some really great improvements and something that we've had significant positive feedback on from our clients. And again, this is an area that our team is continuing to build on, so that the process that we have today is really a lot better than it used to be, but it's only going to continue to improve. And again, everyone in the audience, I encourage you, speak to your team, provide feedback on what you think of some of these features, and we're always willing to take some feedback to our team as we continuously strive to make improvements within our product. So this is an area that we were really excited about when it was launched, and we hope you're all aware of it, and hope you're all using it. And if not, it is available for you. So if you need any help with setting some of these features up, please do reach out to us, because we're happy to kind of help make this happen for you and make sure that it's set up properly so you can take advantage of some of these features. Some of the other things that are available here: AI-powered document content, along with electronic signatures as part of the document generation and management process. So some really exciting features available within Recruitment now to make it a really proper end-to-end solution in that area. Okay, so just going to watch a little video here to kind of show you a little bit more about what we mean as far as this feature is concerned as well.
I will initially access the candidate's profile from the list. Next, I will transition the candidate to the job offer stage. The system prompts me to input offer-related job details, some of which will be utilized in the later generation of the offer letter. These details include validity period of the offer, job start date, employment status, supervisor's name, candidate's address, salary details, and so forth. After providing the offer details, I proceed to create an offer letter using a pre-configured template. The system offers a preview of the token values on the template to be replaced by the offer details I provided earlier. If I am dissatisfied with them, I can modify them at this stage. Subsequent to this, I can review the offer letter document that will be emailed to the candidate. If further adjustments are necessary, I can make them here. The offer letter is configured to be sent as an e-signature request. If this option is unnecessary, it can easily be removed from the document template. At this point, I proceed to request the e-signature. The candidate receives an email with the offer letter and the request to electronically sign it. She then reads the letter and electronically signs. Upon signing, I, in my capacity as the hiring manager, can view the signed letter attached to the candidate's profile. This marks the completion of the hiring process, and I can now proceed to add the candidate as an employee to the system.
All right, so that's offer letters as a part of the recruitment process. So really great feature, and again, hope you're all using it. But if you're not aware of it and you'd like some help configuring this feature to your system, let us know. Okay, so another big area here for us: reporting and analytics. Now, this is an area that traditionally has been a real strength of OrangeHRM. We've had a great reporting engine available within the product for a very long time. I've been with OrangeHRM since 2017, and this part of the platform was really impressive to me when I first joined on, and it's only gotten better and better over the years. But what we've really been able to do in this past year is pull in additional data points that are going to be available within the reporting and analytics engine. So, the ability to create reports, right? Taking any of the traditional, let's say, demographic details from OrangeHRM, right, about your workforce. So I want to have a look at, show me all of my employees in a certain location, or who have a certain skill set, or who worked with us before or after a certain date, or were hired within a certain period of time. Or people who speak a certain language. All of these little elements, these data points that we've always had as part of our, let's say, demographic profile of our workforce within the database. These have always been areas that you've been able to leverage when running reports. And over the last few years, we've added some additional capabilities to really narrow down the specific areas, like really look in a very specific period of time when certain changes were made. We introduced a couple of years ago snapshot reporting. So view the database as of a previous date and see what the information was like back then. So there were always great reporting capabilities within OrangeHRM. What we did in 2023 was really exciting, was that we brought in additional data points, things like performance data, leave data. Let's introduce these other data points, time data in some cases, to really be able to pull together different records and introduce or or get a different view of our workforce than we previously had available to us. That's really been well received by our client base. And it's an area that, again, we're continuing to work on. So the iteration that's available now in the product, while it's a big improvement, it's only the first step, right? We're continuing to work in these areas to create different data points to give you a greater depth of reporting. So some of the things that are included now are things like goals, performance appraisal and performance appraisal results, leave usage, leave entitlements. So some of these things were all added in 2023 to give you many more data points to create better reports within OrangeHRM. But on top of that, we didn't just stop there. We really looked at how can we disseminate this information across the organization more effectively as needed. So we looked at some things about report sharing, right? So what that means is really I may be an HR manager, an HR director, an HR administrator of some kind, but I've got to create these reports and publish them, make them available to other people within the organization, maybe folks on the executive team that might need to see these things on a regular basis. So I can be able to create, share these reports and publish them to other people, notify those people that those reports are available. So some of these things are things that we've done within the product in 2023, just to just add not just another depth of reporting, but create better visibility and better data sharing within the organization when the levels would allow for it. Right? So those are some of the things we did in the reporting and analytics areas that we're really excited about. And as you might guess, got a quick video to show you a little bit more about what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now.
I will initiate the creation of a new report by assigning it a name. Subsequently, I will commence the process of selecting display fields. The initial step involves choosing the employee's name as the first display field. Following that, I will opt for the Performance Tracker display field group and proceed to select specific fields for display, namely reviews, performance log, comments, and the performance level. Moving on, I will choose the Performance Appraisal Review Summary and include relevant fields such as from date to date, evaluator, and competency score. Lastly, I will focus on goal-related fields, specifically goal name, status, and completion. With all the necessary display fields selected, I can proceed to save and generate the report. The result is a consolidated report that presents comprehensive performance-related information for each employee, encompassing appraisal scores, goals, and performance tracker logs side by side.
All right. Okay, so that's reporting in a nutshell. So there's a lot there. The video only really scratches the surface of some of the things that are available within the application in this area. So again, any additional questions in this area, please reach out to us either within the Q&A period or again after the presentation, reach out to us. And we'd be happy to connect with anyone individually to kind of go over some of these things in more detail. Okay, so next on our agenda today is performance management. So some of the changes that we saw in 2023. So this was really around the ability to set and manage goal weights. So those of you who use our performance features are aware, the three main categories of a performance appraisal that can be set up. There's competencies, there's goals, and there's questions. Now, traditionally, competencies were given weights, right? You could always put different weight on different competencies. So what we did is we expanded that in 2023 to goals. So being able to set weights on different goals. So maybe an employee has 2 or 3 or 4 goals that they needed to hit within the appraisal period. Now, maybe not all those goals are equal. Some of them are primary and some of them could be secondary goals. Now, traditionally, we didn't have the ability to kind of distinguish from this in terms of how it affected the overall score of the performance appraisal. But now we've changed that, right? So we can set specific goal weights for any given goal that is within the system, so that if there is that's on an actual appraisal. So if we did want to change, the value of one goal over another and give it greater significance in the overall aspect of the performance appraisal, you can do that now, which is really great. So assigning relative weights during the goal setting process, so that's now available. Adjusting relative weights to observe the impact on the appraisal. displaying weights on the appraisals, right? So that's an important thing too. So the visibility and creating transparency, so that as employees are going through their day-to-day, when they're updating their goals on a regular basis, they'll understand clearly the value of the weightage of each goal that they're working on. So there's no surprises when it comes to appraisal time, right? So it's a really great feature. A lot of work's been done on performance over the last couple of years. And again, our team's hard at work at continuing to make improvements. So if any of you are using this, again, we'd love your feedback. If you haven't yet provided it to us on an ongoing basis, speak with your reps, speak with us, and we're happy to hear your questions and take your feedback on an ongoing basis. So as you would guess, got a little video to share to give a little bit more details about what we just covered.
I begin by adding a goal. When adding a goal, a new option allows me to set the relative weight of the goal on a scale from 1 to 10. If it's a goal that should be assigned the highest weight, it is given a weight of 10. Since it's an important goal, I assign it a weight of 8. I then enter the remaining goal details, assign it to Rowan, and save. Reviewing the goal list, I can see that Rowan now has 2 goals, and there's a new column displaying the weight of each goal. I can adjust the goal weight by clicking on the weight. The system then displays the goals for Rowan and their weights, along with the percentage weights each goal will contribute to Rowan's appraisal. I can modify each weight and observe how it would impact the percentage weights in Rowan's appraisal. After adjusting the weights, I save the changes. Next, I create a performance appraisal for Rowan. The 2 goals appear with their set weights. In the new view of the performance appraisal, I can now see the weight of each individual goal. This feature enhances the review process, allowing me to assess the potential impact of each goal on Rowan's appraisal before assigning a rating.
All right. So that's managing goal weights in OrangeHRM.
I begin by adding a goal. When adding a goal,
there we go. Adding goals to the appraisal during the appraisal process. Okay, so next, another topic to cover on the performance management side of things. So previously there had been in certain areas, a little bit of a lack of flexibility within the performance module to kind of make adjustments on the fly, right? Throughout the year, employees may be working on different projects, different goals, and then, maybe mid-quarter or mid-year, different goals pop up that get assigned to the employee, right? So we need to be able to kind of change, add things on the fly, and make more adjustments within the platform to be more flexible, to allow for some of those changes to be reflected as part of the overall performance template, the performance appraisal of employees, right? So typically what we've found, it kind of traditionally, right, goals were often set at the start of the year, and appraisals are kind of done at the end of the year or at the end of a given period. And verbal goals oftentimes weren't added to the system, right? But then we know that they were potentially things that were being worked on by the employee, throughout the year. So now we are able to kind of recognize those discrepancies during the appraisal, and the system now allows adding goals to existing appraisals that could be already in process or within a given time frame. So that was something that came up as a request from a number of different clients, and that's why we made that specific change to kind of add just a greater degree of flexibility in the setup and the management of a performance appraisal and the associated process with that. Okay, so don't really have a video for that one. Just going to kind of touch on a few other things on the performance management side of things. Kind of like a summary, right, of some of the things that you've seen already here today and some of the other smaller changes we've made. Within performance management, you're able to perform the same tasks with less clicks. So a lot of feedback we got was there's a lot of clicking around in OrangeHRM, right? Changing settings on different pages. We've really consolidated a lot of that stuff and made you able to create an appraisal, an individual appraisal or an appraisal cycle with fewer clicks and really optimize the process of getting them set up. And then auto set the most widely used values. So some of the things that are done more frequently, make auto sets so you don't have to keep doing them over and over again. Auto save ratings, right? So during the process of filling out a performance review, you've got to save the process at the end, but now we've got the ability to auto save some of those ratings kind of mid-process. and more configurability to achieve the extended behaviors. Kind of what we were talking about in the last few minutes of verbal goals and other things that could potentially be added to the process throughout the year. One thing, one of my favorites is optimized load times, right? So now when you're running performance appraisals, the speed at which the pages load is significantly better, right? So I think, we're only in February. So a lot of you who use performance management probably haven't used it yet this year. You may have used the goals a little bit, but the appraisals, oftentimes they happen a little bit later. Or maybe if you did an appraisal cycle in December, you saw some of these improvements. But if you haven't yet, I think you'll like what you see once you're all set up and using performance management starting off this year because of some of the improvements that we made last year. So I think you'll really enjoy that. Okay, so that's some of the usability improvements we've seen in performance management in 2023. Okay, a couple of other things just before we move on to 2024, I wanted to highlight. A big one for us was leave-in hours. So basically, traditionally at OrangeHRM, the leave module can only be configured for leave-in days, right? So if I want to take a day off, I can apply for a day. No problem. I can apply for a half day. You can even apply for kind of a splintered day. We were able to do all of these things, but we couldn't accommodate if someone has leave accrued in hours, or not rather accrued in hours, but viewed in hours, right? So some organizations say I have 40 hours of PTO or of leave, as opposed to 5 days or 10 days or whatever the case may be. So now you can take them off in hours if need be. So the system can configure that. Short-term leave entitlements, right? So leave in lieu. You have an employee that worked on a weekend or worked overtime. You want to give them that time off in lieu of the extra time that they worked. So we've added the ability to add in lieu and other short-term leave entitlements to OrangeHRM. Great feature. If you didn't know we have it and it's something you need, call us. We'll help you set it up. It's really helped a lot of our clients manage things more effectively from a leave perspective, and it's made their employees happier, which is really important. Selfie and geotagging with attendance records. Now, this is one that I've been waiting for a long time, right? You got employees that might work offsite, you need to prove where they've been. Well, now we have geotagging and selfie tagging or attachment as part of clocking in, clocking out. So attendance records can show that your employee was exactly where they said they were at the time. Auto punch out missing attendance records, right? So you got an employee that forgot to punch out, but they're always are supposed to be done around a certain time. The system can auto punch them out now around that time. A lot of people, employees forget, they get carried away, they get busy, they don't always punch out. It can create an administrative problem, but that problem's now solved because we can set up an auto punch out for scenarios like that where it's needed. And an audit trail for the attendance module, right? So let's make sure that we can really view and really dig deep into the data and make sure that we know everything that happened within the attendance module, punches in, punches out, other records tracked, and so forth. So those are some of the other highlights of other features that were released. Again, if you want to jump into any of these a little bit more detail, please ask some questions or otherwise contact us after today's session, and we'll share the contact details at the end of the call too. Okay, so that's 2023. So now what's coming up in 2024? So a very brief sneak peek at some of those things that we want to look at here for the product roadmap in 2024. So a lot on the docket, and these are only some of the features that we're going to be seeing. Let's start with employee management. So what's new in employee management? So employee flexible work schedules. Now, this is one that was born a long time ago and had kind of some different iterations at OrangeHRM within the product team, really meant to make things easier, particularly for hospitality, retail, that type of, organizations that have a lot of hourly employees. We have many customers that do, and really being able to kind of help manage work schedules, right? So what's the schedule for this employee? A little bit different than rostering. So just to be clear, it's not a roster solution, but it's a scheduling management set up within employee management to kind of help manage the different expectations, the different schedules that employees may have. Support for overnight shifts, so being able to track hours overnight and view things as an overnight shift, something that traditionally we weren't able to do at OrangeHRM, we can now accommodate for, or that we will be looking to accommodate for once the features are available in 2024. Recruitment. So a lot coming up on the recruitment side. So not just, a lot of this is sort of administrative, sort of making the workflow a little bit smoother, filtering candidates by answers provided, and setting up best match rules for candidates, to sort of set up what you want to see in a short list. Auto rejecting certain candidates based on certain criteria or archiving candidates. Dynamic forms, something that's going to be really, really exciting that we're working on around contacting former employers of a new candidate for references, and some of the things that will be available to do in those areas, kind of pre-boarding capabilities that are going to be available as part of OrangeHRM. Tracking candidate source. Now, this is one that's been asked for a long time. Where did this candidate come from? Did they come from our website, LinkedIn, Indeed, other sources, etc.? Being able to get a better understanding of where your best candidates are coming from, or where the most candidates are coming from, and some other data points that are going to help you make better decisions on the recruitment side of things. And then custom reports. Really, some great things are going to be available to create your own reports in recruitment to get better ideas of things like, some elements that really help you drive better decisions around the recruitment process are going to be available through some of the reporting tools that we're going to make available. Performance management. Now, a lot was done in 2023, but we got a little bit more on deck for 2024. Reassign appraisal evaluators. It sounds simple, but it's actually really important, right? So you're in the middle of an appraisal cycle. There is an evaluator, maybe a supervisor, maybe an HR person that's meant to be the next person in line to evaluate an employee. Maybe they go on parental leave, maternity leave, or something like that. Maybe they're just sick. Maybe their job has been reassigned. We're able to quickly make changes and reassign new evaluators as part of an appraisal cycle. So something that's coming in 2024. And then reporting and analytics. Again, one of our strongest areas of our platform. Better filters for date within the month, within the week, within the day, to be able to create better reportings with more relevant data relative to the current date. So some really cool things that you're going to see in that area that are going to be released here shortly, within months really here. And then Excel exporting. So that's something that's already within OrangeHRM in some aspects, but not in all. So there's going to be better ability for you to take charge of some of the reports you have created and do more analysis outside of the system as well. So that's what we got on the product roadmap for 2024. Some really great features, and I hope you're all as excited as we are about them. And I'm happy to kind of go through these things here today. So with that, I think that's everything I had to cover. And next, we're going to be transitioning into the Q&A. So with that, Julie, I'll pass it back over to you and Sam to kind of pick up any questions that we have and kind of take our discussion from there.
Thanks, Matt, and thank you for the session. It was really great to see all these features and really insightful as well. So in terms of time constraints, we want to push through to the Q&A session. If you can send in any questions that you would like Matt to pick up, please send them into the chat box, and we will go from there. So we have one question regarding the appraisals. So can the appraisal goals be entered by the employee?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the answer is yes, maybe not exactly how you think they can be, but yes, they can be. So when we are going through kind of the goal management aspect of OrangeHRM, employees can submit their own goals as part of that process. Let's draw back a bit of a scenario here. So you're sitting down with your employee, you're talking about the year ahead. You have some goals perhaps for the employee that you'd like them to hit. No problem. So you can enter them in OrangeHRM. Your employee can then also come up with their own goals that they may have. They can go to OrangeHRM and submit them. However, before they go live, they are subject to approval by the supervisor of the employee, or potentially the head of department or some others that could potentially want to look at these things prior. But yes, they could submit them. So if a goal is submitted by an employee, of course, it's subject to approval. But if it's approved, it will appear in the employee's goal list and could then also be a part of the performance appraisal itself.
Thanks, Matt. So we have another one where they mentioned that. Sorry, let me just get that on the screen. They like the e-signature feature, and they want to know if we could get it enabled on the system and whether we need to pay for the signatures.
That's a good question. So it isn't. It may not be enabled for you yet, but it is something that can easily be configured. You can contact us after directly, and we can have the implementation team set it up for you. So that's no problem. So there's no cost to that. However, there is a cost to use the feature. The cost is I think $2 per signature, right? So every time it's used, there's a $2 charge. And that is billed after the fact. So it's billed quarterly in arrears. So if you in the last quarter used, 10 e-signatures, you'd get a bill for $20, at the end of the quarter, right? So we bill that quarterly. So there is a fee. It's relatively modest, but there's no fee for the setup or configuration of it. So if you want to reach out to us to help you do that, please do so.
And actually, we're having a promotion where we're giving 50 signatures free of charge. Like Matt said, you can get in touch with us through goalsupport@OrangeHRM or email any of your account managers as well, and we'll have that set up for you.
Yeah, please. I'll mention this now. What was the email you mentioned, Julie?
Goalsupport@OrangeHRM.com.
Gold support at OrangeHRM. That's gold as in GOLD support at OrangeHRM.com. You can also, if you have any of our direct contact details, please reach out. Other easy ones, info@OrangeHRM.com or sales@OrangeHRM.com. So any of the above will get you where you need to be if you don't have your direct account reps information on hand.
Okay. There's one more other question. So how do I cancel... wasn't that? Apologies. They asked regarding shareable reports. Will an employee be able to edit the report that was shared with them?
That's a good question. I may tap Sam for some feedback on that. So basically, the way the report's set up is there are restrictions within OrangeHRM so that only people who are meant to see a report can see a report. So someone would have to have the authority over those specific employees in order to see those reports. So if I'm publishing a report, I can publish it to someone typically with the right credentials or user role level in order to see that report. And typically, I'm doing it for someone who's above me, let's say, in the hierarchy, so that oftentimes isn't too much of an issue. There's also the ability to schedule a report and add someone to it. Okay, so if you're not aware of that, I think this was a late 2022 feature, but it was the ability to create a report and schedule that it goes out to someone on a regular basis, right? Whether it's the first of the month or the first, every Monday or whatever the case may be. So when you do that, you can schedule these reports to go out to these people In that case, you do have to clarify that the person receiving it does have authorization to view the information on the report. So that's a little different. But Sam, maybe you had some other feedback in terms of what's capable in those areas, just to make sure that we answer the question correctly.
Okay, there's one other question regarding the mobile app and if there's any new features coming out there, as well as if we'll be having goals on it and if we could even update it through the mobile app.
That's a great question. Yes, that is a feature that's going to be available. So goals and some other performance capabilities are going to be moving to the mobile app. When they are coming exactly, I don't know. But some work has already been done in that area. Maybe, Julie, if you could take the person asking that question to their information down so we could follow up with them directly.
Yes,
because I don't know exactly if that's a 2024, it may be, but it could be a little bit beyond that before it's meant to be released. But it's absolutely coming, and it's something that we'd like to get you more information on. So please leave your information with us so that we can follow up with you directly on that.
all right. We had another question in regards to work schedules, which is the upcoming feature, and whether it supports the night shift.
Yes, so that'll be 2024 feature is work schedules and then support for night or overnight shifts, and also for shifts that begin in one day but end in the other, right? So there's many different iterations of a night shift, right? Some of which are 8 in the evening until 4 in the morning. So obviously this is over 2 different days, or the first 4 hours, the second 4 hours before and after midnight. So there'll be support for that, as well as others that kind of begin in the early hours. Right. So overnight shifts, anytime passing midnight, that type of thing, or any other night type shifts will be covered in the new capabilities that are going to be released in 2024.
All right, thank you. We can take one more question before we close up due to time constraints. We'll just let the chat box fill in. Okay, so we have a question regarding the short-term leave entitlements, and if we could just explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. Sam, did you want to take that one? Sam, are you there? Did we lose Sam?
I can take the question.
Perhaps.
No
Okay.
problem. Yeah, I'll address that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I'll address them through chat, Matt. So,
yeah, I mean, I can speak somewhat to it, but I thought it might be better because there are I'll just give a quick iteration for the whole audience, right? So short-term leave is, think about a scenario where you've got an employee who's worked overtime, or they've worked a weekend, or they've worked a shift or a day in which they weren't either scheduled or they don't typically work, right? So there's many different scenarios that could potentially fall into that category. What we've added to the product is the ability to add a short-term leave entitlement. So this would be if I've got my leave module open and I'm applying for leave and I've got my vacation, my sick, my personal, whatever days that are available to me, there's another category that would potentially open up if an entitlement has been added for me. And that's some type of leave, let's call it leave in lieu, right? So oftentimes that's the terminology that's used that describes these scenarios. So leave would be available in that bucket for me to take. Now, typically this has the reason we call it short term is because it has a short expiry date. So it's a leave that needs to be taken within a given period of time, typically, sometimes a month, but sometimes, maybe up to 3 months or thereabouts. So this would be the next leave the employee would take in lieu of the fact that they worked extra hours or extra shifts or days that they typically wouldn't work, right? So it recognizes that extra work and gives them extra leave. So they would use that rather than using their typical bank of holiday or vacation or PTO or what have you, because this is work that's kind of been, or leave that's been granted to them. So it kind of manages that process a little bit more neatly and reflects more closely reflects the processes that many of our customers follow, and gives us some tools to kind of manage that more effectively on their behalf.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt, and thank you so much for everyone joining in today. We appreciate your engagement throughout the whole session and webinar. And if any of your questions were not answered, please don't worry. We will get back to you directly and address them through email. So yes, thank you so much. Take care, and until next time, bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Take care and have a great day.